Recently, I made a video in which I discussed some very unpleasant truths about what's going on right now around the world. Rather, I should say, what's going on here at home that's getting ready to affect the entire world. Because as we know, when America sneezes, the rest of the world gets a cold. Well, the rest of the world has been ill for some time, and I'm not talking about the pandemic. I'm talking about geopolitical events that are getting ready to come to a head. The people who are in places to understand these sorts of things and know about these things are fully aware of these types of, fully aware of the issues we face, bringing us to a head, to the degree to where you're starting to see even the media discussing the upcoming possibility of a major war, yet being that the media is way left slanted as they of course are slanting the storyline to the left, and they're giving out false information. The biggest being artificial numbers in regard to unemployment. This is terrible. I had no intentions of doing this to you. But you hear that, and I'm not talking about that cardinal over there, and I'm not talking about tree knocks from the potential Bigfoot Sasquatch, which may or may not be watching me from the forest back there. I'm talking about this drizzling wintry mix. It's like some of it's rain, some of it's little tiny pieces of ice. It's not that cold, but here's the problem. I have a plate of lumpia here that my wife just cooked that I brought up with me to eat after I made this video because I love the view. I mean, check it out. I'll come up here and I make these videos every day. And then when I'm done, I don't just run in the house and upload them and publish them and all that. Man, I like to sit out here and watch this view. So you'll have to forgive me from this point going forward. Wait a minute. Did it look to you like something took off running back that way as I turned the camera this way? I think this is the angle we need to have right here. All right, so you'll have to excuse me as I eat this delicious golden brown homemade lumpia dipped in sweet chili sauce. Lumpia that my beautiful bride dearly, aka Giggly Girl, just made. It's fresh. I don't mind eating it if it's not hot, but I've got to eat it while I make this video because this unpleasant wintry mix I'm sitting in is going to make it soggy. You hear that? I'm not trying to eat with my mouth, but somebody will complain about me talking with food in my mouth. It will happen. I know that because they complain when I do this. So anyway, did you hear how crispy and crunchy that was? Look at that. My goodness. You're missing out if you don't, not just if you've never had lumpia, but if you've never had Giggly Girl's lumpia, OMG. Listen. How can you be an atheist? Listen, let me word this correctly. If you're an atheist and you believe there's no God, you've never had my wife's lumpia. Watch. Watch this moment that I have come to believe again. You ready? Let's just pretend. I'm not knocking anybody that is. I'm just saying, look, role play. I'm an atheist. There's no such thing as God. Oh my God, you're real. There is a God. Okay, back to what we were talking about. Thank you, by the way, for hanging in there and letting me do this. Oh, wow. If I would have waited one more minute, this wintry mix would have stopped. Well, my wife's lumpia is a lot like that one potato chip from back in the 1980s when I was a kid that no one could eat just one. What was that? Cheetos, maybe? What is lumpia? Looks like egg rolls or spring rolls. Well, kind of. They're like Filipino spring rolls, you know. Their ingredients, what they are is they are very, very, very lean ground pork mixed with, this is what's in the inside, look at that. Ground pork mixed with onions, and she makes all this from scratch. She cuts the onions, the garlic, carrots, oyster sauce, salt, pepper, a little bit of flour, and egg. Mixes that all together in whatever combination she does, you know. Then she puts it in, it's fun to watch her make it. She puts it in like this big old Ziploc freezer bag, cuts the corner out, and then squeezes it into these spring roll wrappers, rolls them up, cuts them in half, you know. She packs them like this because you can freeze these. Look at that. 80 pieces of lumpia in there. And then you deep fry it, whatever oil you use. Some people use vegetable oil. We use olive oil because we're trying to be healthy a little bit. You bring put about that much oil in your pan and you heat it up. Put it on medium heat so the oil doesn't heat up too fast. After a few minutes, you know when the oil's hot. You put that in there on one side. It takes about 2.5 to 3 minutes to get golden brown. Then you just flip it over with a pair of tongs, 2.5, 3 minutes on the other side. Pull it out, put it on a plate, with a paper towel or napkin there. Get the excess oil off of it. Let it cool down, enough to where it's safe to eat. And then, Did I tell you there's a God? I mean, a lot of you already know that, but if you doubt it, if you like, is there really a God? It's like, eat my wife's lumpia and find it out. Heck yeah. So, she's made videos where she shows how to make this, but if you just want some, you want some of hers that she actually made, and you live in the United States because we don't ship internationally, sorry guys, you can buy, wham, a big old pack of 80 pieces of lumpia, and you don't know where to get the sauce. Maybe you don't have an Asian food store close to you. She also puts a bag of the sauce in there for you. As you can see, this is enough for like a banquet or a big party. Like if you're having a big party, or if you're like us and you just love lumpia, take it out of the freezer. Take out a dozen, put the rest back in, cook your dozen, eat your dozen. Save the rest for later, which 10 minutes is going to be 10 minutes later. It's so delicious. Wait a minute. I really just needed to wipe my nose. Okay, so anyway, listen. I have some kinfolk that come from a different state about once a month just to eat Dearly's food. Seriously, they don't like me that much. We're out of touch for more than a decade, but they just figured, well, we're all getting old. No one's going to last forever. We're probably going to die at some point sooner than later. Let's go ahead and just have something to do with our brother. Well, they came down and met my wife and kid, and they had her food. Now they won't stop coming, and it's okay. They're okay. I know we're all going to die someday. Nobody's going to live forever, so I guess it's okay. May as well have something to do with them until that time comes. But she puts out a smorgasbord. Like, she cooks all this food and she puts it on the table, and then we have to clear stuff off of a bookshelf we have in the dining room to put stuff there. Oh my goodness. But you don't have to come here to get it. You can actually buy, because Dearly has had this fantasy about having a lumpia business for years. And we've actually been talking about getting a gut truck, one of those food trucks, and to do it in town. And I said, you know what, why don't we just try it this way first, see how it goes. And so she said, okay, so you can now order Giggly Girls Lumpia from our Etsy store. The link is in the description box below. You get to experience this. Okay, sorry. Back to our discussion. The unemployment numbers aren't real. There's a very large percentage of the largest generation in American history, Gen Zers, who don't even work, who aren't even looking for work, therefore don't even show up in the unemployment numbers. If you've not actively searched for a job for over 90 days, You don't show up in those numbers. So unemployment is actually considerably higher than you're reading about in the media. I got neighbors that don't work, who aren't looking for jobs. They're unemployed. But they're not showing up in the numbers because they're not actively seeking employment. So the media, which slants a certain way, is trying to make it look like we're in this red hot economy. And historically, that's always led to war. Because historically, well, wars kind of do follow red hot economies. But more throughout history, war has followed stagnant economies and recessions and depressions. Think about this. People were commenting in that video the other day that I made yesterday as of this recording, just about the costs of things. Like I mentioned, all these folks, young folks living at home. Somebody commented in the comment section, excuse me, I think I might have just burped. That wasn't intentional. I heard a light growl. And I've had vertically challenged individuals who live under bridges come on here and say, ha, 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 I heard your belly growling when you said there was a growl. How can my belly growl when it's full of Giggly Girl's delicious, golden brown, freshly made, homemade lumpia that proves there is a God? Proof that wasn't my belly. She's cooking chicken adobo right now, too. All right, listen, I can almost smell it from here, but I know she's cooking it, and I know it's done by now. She said this will be done when you get back. It'll be done in 10 minutes. I've been talking for 12. The economy isn't as good as the media is trying to say it is. I'm probably going to be a war in a year. All right, see you guys next time. Oh my God, there is a God.